And her reply to that simply was, I tell you what, since you stay busy, let's let you really stay busy. And she put me in 12 weeks of cardiac rehab. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community. Hey folks, welcome back to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Burrell, and today we're going to be talking for just a few moments about the one thing you can do for each of your 5 major organs in order to help to maintain the best quality of life you possibly can and hopefully protect yourself from ever ending up in the position I've been 8 years ago, and that is needing an organ transplant. So with that being said, let's jump right in. We'll start with the heart, lung, liver, kidney, and brain is where we're going to go today. But we'll start right off with the heart. And the number one thing you can do, hands down, for the heart is to simply move. Okay, get exercising, get to doing something, get to walking, get to, any type of what you might call cardio type of work. That's what you need to do far and beyond everything else. I could remember back several years ago prior to transplant, so probably about 10 years ago now at least, my transplant / heart failure cardiologist came in one day and she just simply asked me, she said, Jim, what are you doing for exercise right now? And what she wanted to know specifically was, what is your routine? What are the things that you do on a daily basis very intentionally in order to help to maintain the level of health of heart that I had? Again, I was in stage 4 heart failure, so what do you do with that? But she wanted to know what I was doing, and I didn't have an answer for that. As a matter of fact, my answer to her that day, and I repeated it several times mistakenly, was to say, you know what, I just stay busy. I'm always on the move. I never sit down. I really never rest unless I have to. I stay busy. And her reply to that simply was, I tell you what, since you stay busy, let's let you really stay busy. And she put me in 12 weeks of cardiac rehab. Now, I don't think it was the fact that I needed the cardiac rehab at the time. Probably not even the fact that the cardiac rehab really did a lot for me physically. But her point was, she put me in that program because she knew I needed a routine. I needed a system. I needed a way of doing things. I needed something I could do repeatedly. And I needed the training that it took in order to get in that better routine so I could be healthy. So number 1, hands down for the heart, you can walk. Number 2, when we consider the lungs, this is obvious, but the major thing we can do for our lungs to keep them healthy is to simply breathe. And I don't mean by that just breathe like most of us do, 14, 15 times a minute. I mean specifically do some type of deep breathing, intentional exercise with that. And the best way to do that, very simply, and I've done this really for years myself, and I really think it's made a difference, is just to get in a place where the air is fresh. For me, it's right in my own backyard. We live out in the country, the sticks as we call it, but get somewhere where the air is fresh and simply do some deep breathing exercises. And that involves taking in very intentional breaths, very deep breaths through the nose and out through the mouth. And make sure that when you do that, not only do you draw in a huge breath just for the stretching, the exercise of those lungs, if you will, but blow that breath out completely, because there's so much to be said, not only for the exercise itself, but even more specifically for the cleansing effect that has. And for all that we have in our life, the organ that is most affected by the outside environment, by the surroundings, is going to be the lungs, because every breath literally that we take goes into those lungs and out of those lungs. So whether you're coming in contact with viruses or bacteria or just dust and just different things in life, cleansing those lungs on a regular basis and exercising them through deep breathing exercises can make a huge difference. And the recommendation I've gotten on that in the past from my pulmonologists and such is basically to do that about 4 times a day, to try to spend about a minute a day doing that in each of those 4 times. So 4 minutes, that's all it's going to cost you, but to keep your lungs as healthy as possible. And that is the number 1 thing you can do for the lungs. So you walk for the heart, you breathe for the lungs. Number 3, when it comes to the liver, the best thing you can do, hands down, is to try to be cautious with your diet, particularly avoiding a lot of sugars, a lot of, I don't know all the technical jargon for that, but saturated fats, that sort of thing. Be sure that you're eating the least amount of processed foods and sugary foods that you can, because remember, the job of your liver as a whole, just to boil it down and make it simple, is to basically cleanse and detox your bloodstream and cleanse and detox your body. And if you're not allowing your liver to have a fighting chance at that, if you're overwhelming them and constantly overloading them with extra sugars and extra carbohydrates and extra this and that and processed type foods and drinks, you're really not giving them the chance that they need in order to maintain that health. So just kind of give your liver a little bit of a break, a little bit of a caring, pat on the head or something, proverbially, obviously not literally, but that's the best thing you can do for that liver. Number 4, when it comes down to the kidneys, right here, you can't see mine, they're right back here. Stretch them out a little bit. When it comes down to the kidneys, the best thing you can do for your kidneys is similar to the liver, but it involves one other thing, and that is drink, particularly drink water. Make sure that your body has that cleansing agent called water to get into it, to go out and help it to rid your body of all the again, the toxins that the livers are filtering through and releasing, and all the things that are being caught up in your system. And by keeping healthy kidneys, as a matter of fact, you can go a long way to avoid heart failure, to avoid other system failure, because those kidneys are constantly trying to filter out, again, those things from your body, and allowing your body to have the ability to, take in the fluids and release those fluids regularly goes a long way for the kidneys themselves. So again, very simple, but yet again, something we can do. So you walk for your heart, you breathe for your lungs, you in turn eat correctly for your liver, for your kidneys, you drink a bunch of water. Don't overload yourself, by the way. And then the last one here, what about for the mind? What can we do for the mind? Well, a lot of times you'll read things that talk about, working that mind, exercising the mind, and, using that, thing between the ears there to keep it healthy and all that. The best thing you can do for your brain, really get a good night's sleep, allow your body to refresh itself, particularly the brain, the rebuilding quality of it, as well as the, just the overall health of it is so much affected by getting a good night's sleep. And you can generally see that, at least I do. You can generally see that pretty quickly in the times when maybe you don't sleep well, and you get up the next day and not only are you tired, you just don't feel good overall physically, mentally. You cannot function, or at least you don't function as clearly. Your mind maybe doesn't work as clearly as it would. You're kind of in that fog all day long. That is an outward result of what your brain is missing, because it, along with your body, doesn't have the ability to recover. And the recuperative part, the recovery part of the body really steps in with a good night's sleep. When you're resting, all of those systems together can kind of heal themselves, can kind of go a long way to keep themselves healthy if they have that. And the whole totality of all of these things, keeping that healthy heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidney, and even the mind, the brain, keeping those things together so those systems can operate as they are, as a body together, is tremendous in any situation. Now, as I've already indicated, when one of these things begins to fail, or one of these things begins to falter just a little bit, they can easily affect another, and that's certainly not where you want to end up. I know this has been simple, this has been basic, but I need, at least Jim Merle, I need the Transplant Helper, I need these constant reminders of these things so that I can do my best in order to stay healthy and to live the best quality of life I possibly can. To each of you, stay stronger, friend.